Welcome everybody to On the Ice this beautiful evening, brought to you by Doaks Bulk Fuels and Caisse Financial Group. On today's show, Lauren Barr joins us from Slave Lake, Alberta. The Slave Lake Icedogs are looking to compete in the GMHL West division later this March. They're working on a timetable and a schedule as we speak. So we'll talk to her workings with the team and getting the team back on the ice, the protocols and the guidelines they've been following with the return to play, and icing a squad that's looking to compete. Whether or not they compete for the West Championship again, as they own that trophy, we will find out from Lauren how that's going to work. So please welcome Lauren Barr to On the Ice. And as promised, Lauren Barr looking absolutely radiant in red. How are you doing this fine evening, Lauren?
Well, I'm great, Theo. It's so nice to see you again. I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a while. It's been quite a busy month for everybody. We are starting to see return to play. Alberta's been the front runner, I guess, in the western provinces. We have seen the WHL return. We've seen Alberta Junior Hockey turn. Now the GMHL West is looking to do the same. Congratulations on doing that. It's been quite a busy February for you. Would you say it's been normal or lack thereof?
Well, we have been building and strengthening our already great team, getting ready to get back into our game schedule. Unlike most teams, we actually have been training consistently all throughout these few months with COVID having shut down our indoor ice. We were doing outdoor ice training and individual CrossFit training. We also were doing web-based tactics lessons with our coach, Greg Kennedy. We wanted to keep the kids on the team engaged, but because it was such a long hiatus, we did lose some players. So we added to our roster. We've signed quite a number of players in the last 2 weeks, right before our signing deadline.
So when was signing deadline? Was that just past this week then?
Yeah. So the GMHL West got a little bit of an extension just due to the fact that we have so much still to play. So we did get an extension, and the signing deadline was the 28th at 10 p.m.
Okay, so the rosters have to be finalized then. Let's talk about finalizing this roster. A lot of different names, different players. And Lauren, you mentioned off there that you're not just looking to field players for this season, you're still continuing to strengthen the program, looking at both younger and older players that are going to stick around for more than just this abbreviated season.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to build for the future. So when we were recruiting, we made some trades for some key components that we were missing. We specifically were looking for some defensemen. We got some really strong defensemen on trade. We got some trades from Bancroft Rockhounds, as well as from the Nipissing Lynx, and also from the Almaguin Spartans within the GMHL. We picked up some players from the KI. We also picked up some players that had not been carded in the GMHL and were from Ontario and Quebec. We also picked up some young players. So what we're trying to do right now is build for the future. Last season, we had players that were specifically focused on last season's win. When we changed coaches, we changed quite a bit of our roster this season. We have a number of older players, and we feel that we're in, I'd say, the front runner to get the cup again. We have a great team. That being said, we don't want to just be focused solely on getting the cup. We want to focus on building a strong franchise. So we recruited quite a few young players for development, young people that have a lot of potential, people that our scouts have been looking at, people that we think would be dedicated to the program, like Donovan Coe came from the Northwest Territories, or Alexander Misotik-Okat from Meadow Lake. Some of these younger players we believe are the future. We already have some kids on the team like that. For instance, Anson Favell or Blaze, and as well Kyler Roy, Landon. These kids had only been playing, some of them house, some of them minor hockey, but they hadn't been given the development. And now they're living and breathing hockey every day, and they're excelling. And, they have such an opportunity to play against these strong players that are 2021 who are mentoring them. Each of our older players have taken a player under their wing, and they're really showing them the ropes. This is how you operate in junior hockey. And our team is quite strict when it comes to rules for character, dedication, follow through. None of our kids are allowed to drink alcohol, even if they're over 18. So you can imagine coming into this environment when you're 16, 17, it's a whole new world opening up, and we're showing them how junior hockey's played.
You talked about the mentorship, and that's one thing that a lot of teams, they don't mention. And I think it's a valuable thing to have, especially during this COVID time that we're in. Having older players mentor the younger player, explaining to them what the junior hockey life is like. Because when you have a 16, 17-year-old kid coming into a team, it's their first time away from home perhaps. They're not used to the travel. They're not used to the regiment, the daily ins and outs and operations. That truly has to be one of the selling features or the most positive aspects of team building and strength within the community of the hockey team, but also for the community of Slave Lake.
I definitely think it is a blessing for these kids. I think that it's really going to direct them on a new path. Hockey for us as a development program is really a key to getting a scholarship. If you're putting a 16 or 17-year-old on this path of diligence and follow through on the ice and listening skills and teamwork, you're really setting them up for success in the game. And then also with the supervised schoolwork, we try to make sure that their marks are sufficient, that they would also be qualifying for a scholarship when it comes to their overall person.
And that, you're right, that overall person wants to see or wants to be that hockey player that will get to the next level, whether it be Division III, juniors, another league perhaps. That's the most important thing, and that's the next step in their direction. You mentioned a couple of players that were signed in February. You found a couple of players from Turner Lake. Did they come together, Tylee Sylvester and Dalen Montgrand, or were they come in separate transactions?
Separate transactions. Tylee came to us about 2 months ago, and Brody at the beginning of the year. Tylee and Brody are actually cousins, not first cousins, but second cousins. And it's nice to see them. They're actually rooming together. And Tylee is really good. And he's just 16, turning 17. And Brody is 17. He just turned 18. So they're young. They're full of energy for the game and passion for the game. They're great at being developed and listening to their coach. They have excellent coaching. And I'm really happy that we found Tylee because he didn't come to our original camp, but honestly, we definitely see him in the future of the team. We spoke to his aunt, Trisha, and we told her, we'd really love to keep Tylee in our program and focus on his future scholarship development. I really know he's going to go far, and he's such a sweet young person. I really like spending time with him in our team house, and he's really bright and intelligent. We really have really great players on our team. Nice people, good hockey players, and lots of potential.
You mentioned some trades made in different leagues, Brantford, Montreal, including Jonathan Giancotti. Another pickup you had earlier this month. Now that we have the team assembled, we also found a goalie as well, a AAA goalie. Let's talk a little bit about him because that was a void that was missing for the team. And it's very hard to find good goaltending this late in the season. And want to make sure he's going to be part of the team for many years.
Yes. So we were actually quite fortunate. One of the teams that, I'm sorry, the Teskamen Civics, I can't pronounce the name of their city, I apologize. Tyson Lambert came to us from them. His dad is actually the coach of the team. They're not operating. It's in the GMHL. Tyson played for the OJ. He is a defenseman. 2001, he played with the Aurora Tigers. He's a wonderful pickup for us. And his mom, Cheryl, said, hey, I see you're looking for a goalie. I know this great guy, Jonathan Burbidge. I'm sorry, haven't met some of these people in person yet, so I'm not great with their spelling of their names. But he played AAA prep hockey last year, and apparently he's a fantastic goalie. His stats are incredible, like .98. And very dedicated young man. So with him and Skylar, as well as, so we have Skylar, and Connor Johnson, who is also a trade. We have 3 goalies. Because we can't be affiliated with Hockey Canada and minor hockey, we need to carry 3. We have 3 great goalies. And Connor has fit in really well with the team. Skylar has been a part of the team since day one and is a key component. And John seems like a great young man. So I know that we're really fortunate to have good goalies. I was speaking to someone in the division, and I was telling them about all our great defensemen that we picked up and the forwards we already had, and some new forwards we picked up that were, wonderful. And they were talking about my goalie situation, and I realized that without great goalies, it doesn't really matter how your skaters are. You need everything. So by picking up John, we really finished the package, and I feel that we're very competitive.
Was it difficult to find players before the deadline last week, Lauren? I mean, you've only been doing this for a couple of years. You got a little bit of practice with it last year. Does it get easier as the years go on, or do you just have, these little, prodding irons in each little fire in every little league, and promoting Slave Lake as a wonderful community to continue to play hockey? Does it get easier with every year, or is it just one of those challenges you enjoy on a daily basis?
Well, that's a really good question. So it's quite evident from our conversation that, yes, I am new to hockey. Some of the things that other people would consider are not the things that I would consider. I think when I'm recruiting, I look at the whole person. Do I, like this person? Are they respectful? Do I think that they are marketable to get a scholarship? Because ultimately that's what we're here for. What are their stats? Can they financially, be on the team? Because we have bills to pay. Whereas typically a hockey guy just looks at where they played. So by looking at all those things, I would say that we have a very well-rounded team. When I am in the team environment with the players, I'm like awestruck by what great group it is. And that's really led to having a lot of chemistry. Our team, before anyone else was doing Team Chance, everybody gets along. Everything's really smooth, very respectful to the coach, dedicated in the community. And I think all those things have translated into good development. We've also been lucky to have some really good players. And I think by sharing with them the environment, they're more open to coming. I think also I'm really honest. I tell people exactly what it's like because I don't know any different to try and sell people. And I think that the transparency helps. But ultimately, I came from the restaurant and hospitality bar business, and I absolutely loved selling bottle service. I loved throwing events. So the excitement of recruiting is something that I really enjoy. I absolutely love recruiting. I love it. It feels like a game almost, like, oh, I got this guy and this guy, and this guy's going to close. It's one of the things that I most love about being involved in the team. And every interaction, I think I learn more what to look for, how to recruit. So I'm definitely getting better. Last season, I iced the team all by myself because we lost our coach right before the season started. And some of our players were not what I would consider prospects because of their level of dedication. This year, we have all prospects or kids in development. And I'm really incredibly proud of my recruiting. I absolutely am passionate about it. I love it. And I'm lucky that I have such a great coach, Greg Kennedy, because when I get the players here, he can, build the lines and the team and do everything from there. And he's also been bringing in some great kids, and his relationship with them is good. So do I 100% know what I'm doing? No. But I certainly am learning, and I'm open to learning more about the game. I am 100% committed and passionate, and I think that that's translates into good recruiting.
Absolutely. No, when you talk about transparency, honesty, truth, and character, those are some pretty good pillars of strength developing a team, Lauren. And like you said, you've got a great coach in Coach Kennedy helping you out, putting the prospects on the ice and getting them to skate all as one. Lauren, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. We're going to talk about some of the amenities in Slave Lake that have been opened and have been used during this pandemic, as well as more about the beginning of the season here later in March. So stay with us here on the ice. Back with Lauren Barr, the owner of Slave Lake Icedogs. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I own the whole team 100%. And I was the GM, but now Greg Kennedy is our GM and head coach.
So Coach Kennedy comes on board. Did he expect to be living in the big house with all the teammates and all the players?
He did, but we're quite fortunate. It's like a 10,000 square foot house. So
it's not just a little house on the prairie. It's quite a big place.
Yeah, it's a master suite that's far away from the house was designed actually by Norm Block. We have a rent-to-own setup with Norm. He was a home builder, and during the Slave Lake fire, the house burned down, their main house. And when they built a house in two sections. One section's almost like a hotel. It's a long corridor of room, and then a private kitchen, some amenity rooms. And then there's a doorway to another section of the house that has 3 bedrooms, a big kitchen, pantry, almost like for catering, with multiple fridges, freezers, and a really beautiful living room. So how it works is our 2 coaches live on the house side. Tyson Price, our associate coach, and his wife and 2 daughters live, and Greg Kennedy. And I was going to live there, but when I hired Greg and he was from Ontario, I said, hey, you know what? You take the master, I'll get a different place. And I have a place in Slave Lake, but this is a acreage just about 10 minutes outside of Slave Lake. So with the players there, it's actually been such a blessing due to COVID because they're in a bubble. So we have actually had 0 cases of COVID by keeping all of our players separate. We haven't had any issue whatsoever. Also, it's been great too because it's difficult to get billets in the COVID environment. So all of our players have been in a great environment. And he's actually been pretty cool about it because, you know, I'm sure being with that many players, you know, could be taxing at times. But he's just a really open guy. He really likes being around the kids. They all love hockey, so they're watching hockey constantly. And it's worked out really well. Cal meals, and we have a meal plan that we put up. So it's kind of almost like a university dormitory style, but it's definitely an upgrade on that. It's a beautiful house.
So Lauren, it's safe to say you had 16 players that had shovels in hand should you get stuck in the driveway.
Yes, which is quite nice. Anytime I'm there to unload groceries, all the kids unload them and carry them in. It makes it so much easier.
No doubt. I also have seen a lot of
so our
posts
players are in a...
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sorry.
I've seen a lot of posts on your social media pages with regards to what the team has been able to do within the community, maintaining a positive energy, even though they haven't put in the skates on. How important is that for their team building as well as their, you know, maintaining their energy level up, knowing that there is going to be a season? And finally, we do know that coming in March here.
Okay, so that's really important. So when the November 27th lockdown came down in Alberta, a lot of the teams in our group put their coaches on layoff situations, still being paid, but they weren't operating. A lot of teams outside of the GMHL shut down or went dormant or were on hiatus. We didn't. That obviously was quite expensive, continuing that level of training, but I wanted to make sure that the players were engaged. So that I'm the type of person where if I say I do something, I'm going to do it. I told the kids we're finishing the season, 100% we are. The reason that we applied for exemption is I started that process. The reason that we're still going is because not only Derek with the division, but myself, we're going to do it no matter what. If it means that we have to build a bubble in one city, if it means that we have to carry a bus on our back, we're going to finish these games. We made a commitment, we're doing it. And that kind of dedication translated for the kids, I think, will help in their mental health. COVID has been incredibly difficult for the players in their mental health. Are we playing next week? What's going on? You know, I want to see my friends. I want to see my family. Our players couldn't go home because if they did, they were exposing themselves to COVID. Also, for them, they're accustomed to a routine, changing up their routine, or if they're in their last year and they're aging out, it's devastating. And that was part of the reason we lost some players, is some players couldn't wait and deal with daily wondering what's going on. But what we tried to do is keep our players engaged. So we arranged outings for them within the COVID protocols outside, hunting, trapping, ice fishing, skating outside, anything that we could do to keep them busy, occupied. We did a ton of online tutorial classes about breakout zones, defense, to keep everybody mentally stimulated as we went back. And now with the restrictions being eased, as of February 8th, we started back practices. We lobbied to keep the ice in Slave Lake, and the mayor and council supported that effort. So the ice is in Slave Lake. Like, we have fought tooth and nail to keep these players playing and the teams on the ice, and we were successful. And again, that also makes me incredibly proud, and that's really what the Ice Dogs are about. Nothing will keep us down. We 100% will dominate no matter what. And our players now are practicing on the ice in their home arena. They have a beautiful dressing room. Unfortunately, they can't go in it because of COVID. So right now, our U18, our 18 and under players are skating together on practice. Our 19 to 21 players are doing one-on-one training with coaches. You can have 3 on the ice at a time. So 1 coach, 1 player, 6 total bodies, social distancing. We're doing that. As a part of our exemption, we're asking Alberta Health to allow the team to practice as a group, because ultimately they're in a bubble. Those restrictions were designed so that people like in junior and amateur sports were playing, but not adult rec type leagues. So we expect our team to be able to practice together very soon. There's been dialogue back and forth with Alberta Health, so they're in the process of going through our exemption. There's some more documentation they requested today. And so they'll be practicing together, and then we expect games end of March. We're thinking March 21st. It's still up in the air. So we're practicing, and then now with these restrictions that have been eased on March 1st, we're able to return to our gym, Champions Gym in Slave Lake. Beautiful gym, top of the line, and our CrossFit. So before the November 27th, our week consisted of Mondays yoga practice, Tuesdays cross practice, Wednesdays gym practice, Thursdays deep tissue stretch with an active rehab specialist practice. Now, because some kids did get out of shape a little bit, we're doing CrossFit twice a week, yoga once a week, and then we're doing video with combination stretch practice. We're doing 5 times a week. So kids are really engaged right now.
That's a very impressive schedule, especially with the CrossFit, the yoga, the deep tissue. Were players kind of surprised when they heard that this was all part of the game plan as being part of the Ice Dogs organization? And that's not, like, that's a very high bar you're setting for the rest of the GMHL to follow. Pretty impressive.
Well, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. That really means a lot. I'm really trying to put together the best organization. There's always room for improvement, but we put all our money into the team, into, like, the players got much more than was contractually obligated. They got more gear. We provided wax, laces, things that you wouldn't typically do. We go above and beyond just to make sure that everybody has everything they need. And we just want to give them the best, the absolute best. And I feel like for an athlete to be successful, they need all those things. Unfortunately, sometimes people don't, I think, realize how good they have it until I know that some of the players are quite appreciative of it. I think some expect it. At the end of the day, everybody's responsible for their own individual experience. What my responsibility is to put the best available. So I think I have the strength. What criticism comes my way, or what successes, or what accolades, consistently, I'm just going to choose to do the right thing for the team.
Lauren, that's truly amazing. A job well done in your short tenure with the Ice Dogs, and now the owning it basically, not just from a material perspective, but owning the decisions and standing behind them is truly awesome. We talked about the community of the team. We talked about what they've been doing to keep busy. Hoping to see competitive play between all 4 teams in the West Division at the end of March.
Oh, 100%. There's lots of great players on the High Prairie Red Wings. Mikhail Shalafu, it's his second with them. He's literally on fire. And Larry Yellowknee had a tryout in the East Coast League. He's back. So they have a great team, lots of really good stars on their team. Most of them are all returning too. Enoch has a really strong team. Fox Creek started this season a little bit weak just because they're a new franchise, but they did some great recruiting. We traded them some of our all-stars. Daniel Babchik, our defenseman that won the Hart Award and went to the All-Star game, we traded to him. We also traded them Elias Okamau, who had 88 points last season as a forward. So last season were very equal in their competitive level. This year, I expect the same. It was like that early in the season, and I expect now it to be the same. But of course,
Lauren, do we know how many games will be played in this latter half or the rest of this 21 season?
Yes. So some teams played 8 games. My team did. Some teams played 10. We have 34 games left. We're going to be playing 34 games, no matter the scenario, to finish out the season. We'll be playing for a Division Cup, not a national championship. But next season, there will be a national championship.
And we're optimistic that there will be a regular season come the fall of 21 and a full regular season through 22, correct?
Yes. I don't know about the variants. So maybe typically the division starts in September. Maybe it'll start in October. Well, I can't forecast the future, but I do know that we are committed to extending this season to finish off our 34 games. Capitalizations are well below 300. I know there was a break today. We are below where we should be at for stage 2. We're almost at stage 4 is hospitalizations in Alberta, which means that we would go back to no restrictions shortly. In addition, we have applied for exemption, which we expect to get. I consulted with the WHL to see what they did and modeled our application after that. And lastly, in Slave Lake itself, there's only 16 active cases. So we're heading back to more normal times where we'll be able to finish. And then we'll to the future to try and get back to normal all around the board, COVID-free.
Last question I'm going to ask you before I let you go for the evening, Lauren. How excited are you to see hockey back in Slave Lake and those Ice Dog jerseys starting to smell like hockey again for the remainder of the season?
I'm really excited. It is so nice to see the kids back on the ice. I'm just so happy for them. And I'm just so, looking forward to it really finishing properly. And I'm just thrilled.
Well, I'm hoping to hear very soon that first weekend when we have all 4 teams in play in the GMHL West Division. Playing for a Division Cup, like you said, it should be exciting. 44 games. Hopefully get it done by June.
That's the plan, end of June.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to seeing and following. Again, you can check out everything GMHL West related on their Facebook page. You can find the Slave Lake Ice Dogs there. We'll have all the tags on this post. Lauren, thank you so much for spending some time with me. And good luck for the rest of the season and a job well done. I think everybody in Slave Lake should really appreciate the efforts and the organization that is there for years now and years to come.
Thank you so much, Neil. It was wonderful chatting with you. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Right on. This has been On the Ice with Lauren Barr, owner, Slave Lake Icedogs. Thank you again, Lauren. Have yourself a great rest of the evening. And there you have it, Lauren Barr, having to leave. Great talk with her. Love discussing hockey with her. She's truly one of the amazing owners in the GMHL West Division. Do check them out online on Facebook. They'll have their games live as well on GMHL TV. They have all their posts on their Facebook page, SlaveLakeIceDogs.com, to follow their updates as well. This has been Theo here on the Ice Tuesdays and Thursdays. As always, thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great rest of the evening and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for tonight.